Okay, at this time, I'd like to call to order the City Muskego Landfill Standing Committee for January 6th at 5:02 p.m. Would the secretary please read the roll?
Abby Lipke,
Here.
Patrick Murray,
Here.
Mark Slocum,
Here.
Scott Kowalski,
Here.
Harvey Switcher,
Here.
Alderperson Eileen Madden,
Here.
Greg Burmeister, Roland Kiefer,
Here.
Dan Olzenberger,
Here.
Chad Siegel, Recording Secretary Scott Krager here. Joel Spear Jr. is absent. Based on the roll, we have a quorum present at this meeting.
Statement of public notice.
This meeting was properly noticed in accordance with the open meeting laws of the state of Wisconsin.
Thank you. Open forum. This time we have a 5-minute time period per person. Anyone care to come up and speak to any of the issues on the agenda tonight? Okay.
I do as a local resident. I'm curious, what are you currently extracting? Are they using the extended hours to do that? And when they're hauling to the north, are they encroaching on wetland?
So the project that is ongoing to, I guess, kind of the more the west northwest, is that what you're
Right.
what you're saying? Yeah, is part of the floodplain work that's being done under the expansion. They're removing topsoil and then doing some berm construction and some general fill in that area as part of the modification that's needed to elevate the floodplain in that area for the future expansion.
Are they using the extended hours to do that?
I don't think so. I mean, daylight's kind of shutting them down, so I think they're pretty much wrapped up by 5 o'clock. And there's no weekend work associated with that project, so.
That weekend, no, it just
Right.
appears a little bit late in the day, but I'm gonna say like 5 o'clock. I've noticed some people.
Yeah.
Then obviously there's been some machinery repairs, because there's been some days it's really late. A lot of lights over where they line up their equipment. But the lights have been great. I mean, it's not been an issue, and it's not loud, so it's not an issue of that. I was just curious, what are they still doing?
Question, is this part of the project that we were waiting for the DNR to show us what they were going to do with this water diversion?
In general, yeah, it's part of that. It was an issue that came up somewhat late in the overall permitting process. Came to our attention that there was some floodplain elevation work that had been done that raised that elevation and moved the floodplain into our area of expansion. And you cannot permit or construct a landfill in a floodplain. So there needs to be some modifications that need to be done. So yes, in terms of the overall project, but this is a little bit of a separate issue.
Okay, have they finalized what this plan or layout is going to be yet?
Not quite yet. No, we just submitted the plan of operation for the expansion the end of December. It'll take probably a good portion of this calendar year for them to review it from a completeness standpoint and then review it from an approval standpoint. So it's quite a lengthy process for the department's review of that submittal. And probably third quarter, maybe even fourth quarter of this year, we would expect some decisions from them.
All right, yeah, we've been waiting for that layout for, it sounds like a year and a half.
No,
Are you using the new cell?
we're in the new cell, but that's part of the existing plan of operation for the site.
this expansion you're working to currently get to in the future?
That's going to take us farther to the west, closer to the high-tension power lines type things, so yeah. But the cell we just did was approved under our current plan of operation.
Right, but this is another one,
This is another one.
additional.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Compliance officer report. As you're aware, the compliance officer is not here. He asked for specific questions that anyone might have that he could answer ahead of time. Does anyone have anything that we can take down with respect to that? Status of projects, clay extraction.
Hasn't been much going on, obviously, given the time of year and where we are in the calendar year. We do have a few contractors taking fairly small amounts of material off-site from stockpiles to the north of the facility, but other than that, there's really nothing going on outside of those small projects and contractors coming in, taking some fairly small amounts of soil off.
Okay. MMSD project, that's a little bit, I think now, mislabeled. It's really the landfill gas project, I would call it.
Yeah, I mean, a couple things going on there. I mean, we just finished up, obviously, 2024. Our delivery rate was just a little bit north of 70% of our gas extracted volume, which is a little bit lower than we've been in previous years. Some of that is due to the district not taking the gas, or in some cases, we've had some poor gas quality that we've had to deal with. In response to that, we've been installing some additional gas extraction wells on site. If people have been driving by in the last month or so, they might see the drill rig up on top of the hill. That project should be finishing up here probably in the next couple of weeks. The gas extraction well installation should be done by the end of this week, and then there'll be a couple of weeks of installing headers and laterals to interconnect all of the gas wells. So hopefully that'll improve our gas quality and improve our ability to deliver to the district.
Okay. Was that gas well project, was that covered under a plan mod, or was that part of the?
It's essentially part of the current approvals for the site, those installations, yeah.
So you can keep putting in whatever you need as you go?
Yeah, they always look kind of like for a minimum in terms of gas extraction wells. So everything that we're adding is pretty much supplemental wells to the current extraction system.
Okay. Electronic recycling?
Yeah, that continues to go well. It's been busy, and the site gets quite a bit of use on Fridays and Saturdays, including the drop off of the electronics. So we continue to try to police it the best we can, making sure we keep appliances and those types of things out of there. But yeah, it's been busy even through the early part of winter.
Okay, typically Christmas is a great time for it.
It is, yep. We see a lot of people trying to clean some things out. They get down in the basement or whatever for their decorations, and they see some electronics that they can bring to the landfill, so.
Okay, residential drop off?
Yeah, the residential drop off has been good. Again, busier than I would have expected even this time of year. I mean, we're very busy on, both the Friday and the Saturday time periods. We're really trying to, I guess, enforce the hours of operation. There still seems to be either a lot of confusion or people trying to take advantage of the start times, especially on Friday. We get a lot of people that show up before the 9 o'clock start. And, we got a lot of traffic coming in and out of our landfill. So to have cars, lining up and those types of things from a safety standpoint can be a real issue. So, when we see that, we try to go up there and talk to the folks, either ask them to come back or maybe park in the parking lot type of thing so that they're not impacting the traffic, the truck traffic that's trying to get in and out of the facility.
Okay. Is that start time something that should be readdressed?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's something that we could maybe give some thought to. Maybe we try to be consistent between the two sites and just make it a 9, because what happens is we've got a 9 o'clock start on Friday and an 8 o'clock start on Saturday.
Yeah.
Maybe it makes sense to just make it a 9 o'clock start for both days. Just something to consider. Because I think that's where some of the confusion is. They see the website and certain numbers stay in, people's brains or whatever as they look at things, and so.
How about a 8 o'clock start at both places?
Could do that. We just try to, because of how busy we are on Fridays, a typical operating day for us in terms of the landfill itself, adding another hour. My preference would be 9 and 9 versus 8 and 8. I think that's still plenty of time for people to come and go from the facility, but.
Okay, well, from the
How would you publish that?
committee standpoint, it's what is best for the community more so than what is best for the landfill.
Well, obviously, if you're that busy in the morning, it's because they want to get in there. And if you
Right.
push it off to 9 o'clock, they're not going to be thrilled with that. I'm going to assume you got a line regardless. You got a line of trucks going in and you got a line of cars coming in.
Yeah, but the trucks are continuously on the move.
Didn't we move it? We aren't
So,
moving it yet?
No,
Not gonna move
that's not going to be moved, no.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would have helped.
It would have, but my concern was, given the distance it was going to be away from the scale house and really where Chad and I are located on a regular basis, we were concerned about the control of the operation and those types of things.
Yeah, I would hate to see you cut an hour away from everybody. 'Cause
Understood.
It's big in the community.
Yeah, I understand.
Could the sign by you on your site be changed so it shows 9 o'clock? Maybe people would see it and
I don't know.
consider next time.
Yeah,
coming
I
in.
would hope so, right.
They have selective vision.
I know they do. That's why they got there in the first place.
That's right.
It's the old adage, don't confuse me with the facts.
Do you ever let anybody in before 9 o'clock? Probably, yeah.
Reluctantly, yes,
Yeah,
because we're not interested in confrontation.
right, yeah, I get it. And I think they probably know that too.
Probably.
What if you put a sign up that said no vehicles will be accepted before 9 a.m. on that
I
day?
believe that it would be ignored.
Probably. Okay.
Well testing for the well water protection area.
So all 35 wells have been tested. I talked with ESC earlier this week and no issues with the sampling. In fact, I don't believe there was even any bacteria issues, which is unusual. Every once in a while we get a well or two that maybe needs some attention by the homeowner, but nothing as of right now. And we should have results probably within a couple weeks. And usually the letters are out by the end of January.
Okay. Plan modification issues?
I think the only thing to update there, and I touched on it briefly, is the plan of operation for the expansion has been submitted. The department has 90 days to do a completeness review. They're usually pretty good at finding something to continue to extend that schedule out a bit. So, between that and the floodplain issue that we're dealing with, it's probably going to be under DNR review, like I said, for a good part of the calendar year of 2025. Other than that, there's really nothing under DNR review at this point.
Okay. I would say by next meeting, I would like to know what a timeline would look like for that expansion without having to go into extended hours and all that kind of stuff.
Sure, yeah. I can have something available for the committee, absolutely. Yep.
Hand out for
Sure, yep,
each one of us.
yep.
Because I would like to stay away from that extended hour thing.
So would I. Yep.
Property protection, sociological, anything there?
Nothing on the property protection. Obviously, the sociological payments are being processed internally right now, and those checks usually get cut in a couple of weeks as well. So we received all of the paperwork back from those that are receiving those payments. So we've got everything we need. It's just a matter of getting things processed through our internal systems, and we're ready to have those checks cut, like I said, probably within a couple of weeks.
Okay. Household hazardous waste.
All right, I shared a report with you all. Just to summarize, this data covers January through October of this year. I know it's hard to read, so I'll give you the big picture numbers to care about. We're working with Veolia, our contractor, right now to get some participation data for November. Can you hear me okay? Better? Okay.
Here we go.
We're working with Veolia right now to get our participation data for November and December. So I didn't include the costs related to November in this report because it would skew it. It would look like it was a really expensive time period with not many participants. So just for your knowledge and understanding, in November we spent just under $28,000 on collections. But regarding this report, January through October of 2024, what we've seen so far is about 3,773 users of our hazardous waste collections. So again, that's across our permanent sites and our one-day collection events. We have 4 of those annually. And through those collections, we've collected so far 191,546 pounds of material, resulting in about $271,570 in total costs for facilitating the program. Are there any questions about this report and the numbers here?
Where do you expect us to be with respect to budget?
With respect to budget, I anticipate landing similar to where we did last year in about the $300,000 range. Does that answer your question?
A little bit is the okay, 300,000. So the committee puts in 158,
156,000.
56.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then the remaining portion of those costs are covered between the grant that we get from DACAP, which is anywhere between $10,000 and $14,000 annually, and then split between the county and communities that participate in the program. The costs to the county amount to about 66% of that remaining total, and then the remaining 33% is billed to the municipalities that participate.
Okay, and how is that done to the municipalities?
How is that done?
Yeah.
The remaining costs after taking off the top, the money that comes from this committee, grant costs, we take that, lob off 66% that the county pays for, and then the remaining 33%, they're charged by exactly the number of participants that came from their community. So we calculate an average cost per participant.
Okay.
there's no other questions on that, I will pivot to providing just an update on the Muskego collections. So I shared at the last committee meeting that things have been slow moving, working with WM. There were some concerns about agreement language as well as citing it at the old location at the shed across the street. I had several more meetings with them since our last committee meeting, and what I'm hearing too is that there are concerns about placing it there, the sustainability of it. They didn't think it was likely that that location could serve our purposes for more than a few years. So what they did come back with that I think is pretty interesting is they have a closed landfill, Stone Ridge landfill, at the intersection of Janesville and Crowbar. So it is in Muskego. And they're working with their real estate group right now to parcel it out. And they have offered that we could use a portion of that to set up a shed and administer collections there right off the drive. So they're still working through it, and they have not provided me with a timeline. I actually reached out just last week asking if there was any update, and they still don't have a timeline on it. Apparently, they've had some staff turnover in their real estate group. But as soon as they determine those parcels, they'll be approaching me with a proposal, and then I would like to bring it to the committee to share it with you all. But I think it sounds pretty neat because it would be right in the city of Muskego and pretty accessible for residents here.
Okay, my concern with that is a priorities hazardous waste site
Yes.
that is still supposed to be under supervision from federal government and also some from the state DNR, because, that site, and it's not the hill, it's next to it,
Right.
where the waste used to be dumped, put all kinds of contamination into the ground. They were unlined sites. And they dumped a tremendous amount of liquid waste into the ground.
Okay.
And my concern is having a household hazardous waste site, which is going to be dealing with hazardous waste materials, right next to what is a ongoing issue with groundwater contamination.
Okay.
I mean, that's the reason we started the water system in Milwaukee, in Muskego,
Sure.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's gonna be controlled. I mean, it's not something where they're gonna be dumping or anything, I can't see why it wouldn't work,
I mean, the collections, the material sits on a couple pallets and then they remove it with fairly regular frequency.
But it's also in safe containers also.
Correct.
It's
Correct.
not something where you're sitting 5-gallon buckets with a broken top or leaky pail or whatever on,
Right.
So,
And this is not something that I have approached Veolia about yet because I wanted to bring it to you all, get your thoughts and feedback. But of course, they would be the ones helping us determine whether or not that would be even a feasible option as the administrator and contractor.
Okay, and this facility would be inside the gated area, the fenced gated area?
That is my understanding, yes. I haven't received too much information beyond what I've just shared with you now, but that would be exactly the kind of question I would have.
Do you know what else they use that site for right now?
I don't. I
Okay.
don't.
That would also be another issue of what they use it for and what they might be thinking about using it for, because I would be surprised if they just want to use it for us. It seems a little, pardon me?
Okay.
It does, and I think that's an excellent site there. It really is. It's gated, it's level, there's plenty of room for cars to come and go. I think that's an excellent site for it. Yep. Yeah.
I would agree. I mean, I want to do your due diligence on it, but the worst case scenario is some of these hazardous materials leak out of the protected vessels that they're brought in. It's leaking on a Superfund site already, instead of it being on a different site and they leak and create a second hazardous waste. So, I mean, it seems to make sense from my standpoint. So I would hope the committee would at least look at this with some, open eyes on this.
It's more central. The city is.
So I will continue to provide status updates as I get them. Like I said, at this time, I have not been provided a timeline, but I continually reach out every week asking for that. So as soon as I have it, I will share.
Okay?
The other update I wanted to provide is related to the Waukesha collection site, UW Milwaukee at Waukesha campus. You may have heard in the news or on the radio that that site is closing. The campus is closing its doors at the end of the spring semester. The county does own the land and the facilities there. However, I'm being told that following the closure of the campus, they are interested in selling that property. It will take some time to do that, and there are a lot of things that have to happen before they are in a position to be able to do it. Soonest estimates I've received would possibly be the end of this year. As you know, we do collections through November. I'm hearing from several others on that team or that project team that it's not necessarily something we need to worry about just at this moment, but knowing and understanding the way things have worked out with this Muskego site, I immediately reached out to the city of Waukesha to see if there would be any opportunity for us to partner. I can tell you in the short term, where our old site in Waukesha was, if you remember on Century Drive, they have invited us back for special collection events. But as you know, that's not ideal because it's more costly and reduced frequency. So my director, Dale Shaver, reached out to several other staff at the city of Waukesha who have assured us that they could provide a space for us at their new water utility center that they're building this year. So best case scenario, we can move there. And if there's an overlap in time, potentially where that site, where the campus is closed and that new water utility has not been built, we could offer a few one-day collection events at the old Century Drive location. Does that make sense?
Again, when is your drop dead date on this one?
So I'm hearing that the very soonest that we could sell the property would be fall of 2025. Our last collections are in November, so I have been told and directed by my director to continue on with collections there and to continue working with the staff at City of Waukesha about this new water utility center. I also have been working with the recycling coordinator at the City of Waukesha to tee up the ability to offer one-day collection events. And again, this would be the type of thing where I would just like to provide you an update at our April meeting of what it's looking like for the direction of the end of the year.
Okay, so if you were to move to the new site at the water utility, that's where you would hold the regular pickups or the regular drop-offs through the summer and fall?
Correct.
Plus any specials for Waukesha or not?
We don't normally offer special collections in Waukesha because we've just had our permanent site.
Okay.
What I'm proposing is if for some reason there was a lapse in period where we did not have our permanent site, that we would offer several one-time collection events to get us through until we have this permanent location.
Okay, understand.
And just for some context, what I've read is that new water utility site will be located just south of where our old Waukesha site was on Century Drive. So from a communications perspective and directing traffic and individuals, I don't imagine that would be a huge hurdle for us.
Okay. Anybody else have any further questions? New business? We have none. Continuing business that was left over from last meeting? Nothing listed. Under other businesses, we have review payments from the committee funds, and that was attached to your agenda, if you pull it off the web. Any questions? Confirm the next meeting date of April 7th. That's still good with everyone? Yep. No conflict with opening day? Citizen commentary? Now you get 15 minutes if you want to say something. Communications and any other business as allowed by law? Upon hearing none, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Looking for a second?
Second.
I'm sorry. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 5:31.